Kill a million. Kill a million. Oh, wait a minute, hold on.
World of Warcraft game director Ian Hazacostas didn't say it outright, but he did imply it. The add-on Slaughter begins at
No!
In 2026, your favorite combat add-ons will be executed. I know that sounds like a lot, but here's what happened. PC Gamer's Heather Newman got to grill him on add-ons and what Blizzard's plan is. This is the same reporter who got Ian to admit that patch 11.1.5 was a bit of a nightmare. Naturally then, he let slip a lot more than they're ready to announce, and what he managed not to say is almost even more telling. So strap in, this one's pretty big.
They're killing add-ons!
Combat add-ons in patch 11.1.7. They're not touching them in 11.2 either. In corporate speak, that means we, have to do a bit of deduction, meaning that they're doing it afterwards. And that means they're doing it in midnight, which is the next big thing. And if that seems soon to you, think about the last few months. No one saw the player housing news coming, but it's been in the works for years. We didn't expect...
They're killing the add-ons! Uh-oh! Killing the add-ons!
If we expect the unexpected, we should expect Blizzard to move fast. Blisteringly fast. Perhaps, moving fast and breaking things. And we should expect it on everything that they talk about. And my god, Ian talked about a lot here. They are clearly further than they are letting on. This is coming close. Here's what matters most then. He told us which add-ons are marked for death. It is combat add-ons only. That means quest helpers will survive, gathering add-ons will survive, RP add-ons, UI customization, all of those will survive. Now, by calling it Slaughter, maybe we're exaggerating slightly. He said they're not out just to smash add-ons purely because they're add-ons. Instead, they want to fix problems, and they want to do so with as little collateral damage as is possible. But of course, there will be some. So here's their plan. They want to keep shipping their own add-on replacements. And once they're happy that those things work...
Oh, they're doing
send in the troops. So maybe these add-ons won't be dead on midnight launch day, but there is a good chance they will die shortly after. Ian used examples. As a big one,
EVM.
Timelines. Now, this shows us how far along they are.
Oh, damn, they're killing EVM?
Bigwigs without replacing them. What happens? Players will just turn to something else. I don't know, like YouTube videos that do callouts on a timer or some weird thing where, you can synchronize a YouTube video to the start of your pull timer. Things like that would be awful. Blizzard clearly doesn't want that, and you can actually tell they've thought this through, and they have a kind of smart solution. Before they kill what they're planning, they'll have official boss mods in the game. Yes, official Blizzard boss mods. And also an official Blizzard damage meter. And Ian actually let slip some concrete...
I'm cool with that. I'm fine.
Planning them. Removing combat log access. Getting rid of aura hooks.
Yeah!
Log access.
Get rid of all that shit.
We
don't need it.
That's the bread and butter of how they function. It'll kill damage meters as well. And that's because that's how those things check for spell casts and damage events.
Good. Get rid of that shit too.
Aura hooks. Well, that means that add-ons can't read your buffs and your debuffs. That will just gut Hikili, as one example. It'll gut most weak auras as well. That's everything. Impacted from your class auras to your party cooldown trackers. That's a lot, and if it was all to happen at once, there would be real implications. Things like, say, you having no interrupt tracking. Yes, no interrupt tracking. If Blizzard doesn't replace it with an official solution, then you'll just have to call your kicks manually using voice.
Oh, wow. Now that'll be fun.
But there is some good news, though. Ian said that if something needs to be tracked, they will make it part of WoW's default UI. As an example, he called out tank swaps by name. There are going to be new and obvious cues of when you should do a tank swap. That means that instead of having DBM scream at you once the right number of stacks ticks up, there'll be something in WoW to do it naturally. That's actually kind of good news in a way, I think, because it is a bit arcane and bizarre that you just have to, count a stack of something that by default is placed over in Narni at the top right of your screen. There's some even better news as well. Instead of letting you track things like interrupts, Blizzard might actually go the other way. they might change the dungeons so they need fewer interrupts, fewer stops, so that essentially you don't miss not having that functionality because you no longer need it. I think it's fair to say that the ongoing arms race has led to World of Warcraft being, God, just absolutely full of bing bing wahoo and things to track that for a lot of people it's overwhelming. That creates the need for add-ons. Blizzard wants to solve that by fixing the need problem instead of the add-on problem. Well, actually, I'm kind of all for that. So here's their goal, right?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not against it.
If the makes the game harder, they will then make it easier at the same time to compensate so there's balance, and the same goes for raids. As an example, that means less swirlies. Random swirlies. They're just there to change the signal to noise ratio, I guess, a weird form of difficulty. The same will go for other things, like say you having more time to react to mechanics, so you don't feel like you need highly granular customized boss timers. It'll mean simpler things to organize as a group because now you'll actually have to do the thing yourself instead of
I'm fine with it.
Tell you what to do.
I'm okay with it.
If you're a caster, that's going to be music to your ears. It'll mean less interrupting yourself as you have to step out of swirlies and nonsense and stuff that I think has, well, pretty convincingly made World of Warcraft a less fun game experience. That thing on being a caster really hit me. That just the existence of swirlies makes playing a caster so much less fun for me that now I'm basically melee only. And if we're to think about when you should do such a large change, there's one obvious point in time, an expansion launch, because that is the resetting of the board. Otherwise, if they did it, say, halfway through an expansion, then they'd have to design Midnight's dungeons twice. First at launch, and then again after they have done all of the changes that Ian has talked about. Now, there's one thing you may be real worried about, and that's, say, Warcraft logs, and your ability to just look at your performance after the fact. Good news, because even with combat log access gone, logs...
They'll put it in the armory.
If you're wondering why, it's because they read logs that are written to file after the fight. Now, that doesn't mean the Blizzard couldn't just kill logging entirely. They absolutely could, but if they're only doing this via the hooks that Ian described, then your Warcraft log stuff is fine and going to be safe. I would actually put money in Warcraft logs being safe, especially since Ian likes Warcraft logs. He actually uses it in game industry talks. So, those are the most important things that Ian actually said, but as always, you cannot take a game director at face value, especially one for such a massive company. That does mean you've got to read in between the lines. Okay, here's what he really said. WoW is heading towards rapid and radical change. The game is going to be very different and very soon. He knows the damage they've accidentally done since Legion. He obviously knows it. I just feel it when you listen to him. They are basically going to hit the undo button. Now, if you weren't around and you don't know what I mean, don't worry, I'll explain, right? WoW was basically reborn with Legion. Every spec was redesigned with tons of artifact traits. This built the foundations of today's insanely complicated classes. Then there were legendaries, which made this even crazier. Then they added massive rotation-changing chase items to the game. Mythic Plus added a whole new way to play, people started to massively sweat it, and this all made those complexities a necessity to master, and since then, it's only escalated. Artifacts were left in Legion, but many of their effects were baked into our classes. Azerite armor, well, that added lots of passive buffs, lots of procs, so many in fact that the game's servers literally had performance issues. Then Shadowlands chucked in even more legendaries into the pile, and continually the good legendaries, the good Azerite traits, those were all folded back into the dough. Then Dragonflight codified it all with the new talent trees, and now hero talents. So no wonder people feel like they need weak auras and Achille, and no wonder Blizzard wants to kill them. But to do that right, they need to tone down all this madness first. This is the sort of thing that makes World of Warcraft look like strange, impenetrable, arcane mystery, but at the pace of a bunch of skippity toilet TikToks. I know that sounds like a weird thing. It's not a natural thing for me to say, but that's the strange thing about WoW. Its theory crafting is turbo nerd. Its second-to-second gameplay is absurdly super fast ADHD. It's mad. And we see the impact of this arms race on our bosses. WoW bosses have got more interesting in recent expansions, but they've also gotten extremely fast. Every raid has at least one swirly, spamming nightmare boss where you're just looking at your character's feet, just mildly annoyed. You've got mechanics that give you almost zero time to react. There's a reason why. Because Blizzard knows your add-on will just blow literally an air horn in your ears and flash something on your screen and tell you what to do. But without that add-on, well, Blizzard no longer needs to challenge you in the same way. And that means there's more design space freed up to get cool, unique stuff. I mean, gonna go off piste here, but you know, in like the field of animation, right? You've got anticipation, you know, wheeling up for the punch. All those things that just, like, the classic rules of animation are so important. But in video game terms, well, if Blizzard has got to challenge you really, really quickly, it becomes hard for them to make big, awesome set pieces. Because the way that players are challenged, like the tools that players have are like a weird autopilot that'll tell you if there's anything you ever need to know. That actually ruins so much game design. And so the bull case for this is that without all of that gumph, we'll actually get the cool, unique stuff, that will get a better signal-to-noise ratio in our game, that will have none of the brutal, relentless spam of avoidable damage that makes World of Warcraft less approachable, less accessible, but also massively less fun and less interesting. And that means that if Legion was basically WoW 2.0, then Midnight, well, Midnight might be where WoW 3.0 starts.
Fresh air and magical relics. What more could one
Okay, so I've told you and showed you what Ian said.
Come
Let's
in!
talk about the overall implications and reading in between the lines. But where it gets
Look.
interesting is similar things have been said literally, officially. Blizzard sent a message to an add-on developer Discord.
Huh?
In the message they said this, quote, "Removing the ability for add-ons to solve most encounter mechanics means that we can take a different approach to the design of our encounters going forward. The